What's up, everybody? Missed last week's stream. I'll tell on myself. Happens. Had a hectic week. Still made a release, though. That's the important part, right? Music first. Music first. Check, check, check. Music first. And this was the release. Welcome back. I'm Jawn Doe. This is Jawn Doe's music. And I'm going to show you guys how I make my music. This week I released a track called The Great Numbing. And I'm going to break it down. So I'll play it back. Hold on. Check, check, check. Yeah. Alright. Maybe it's a bad look to skip through my own track. But it's almost 5 minutes long, and we're going to go through it. And it's getting towards the end of my day, so we got to fly through. Yeah, cool track. I've had it sitting on the hard drive for a long time. As you can see, I got some media files missing, but that shouldn't be an issue. It was saying it was having trouble opening some contact libraries too. It's maybe this Playbox thing, but I have frozen tracks, so we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, you heard it. It's kind of an interesting track. It's sort of a album closer, even though it's released as a single. I like it. It's interesting. I really like this bass and percussion loop that I started out with. I programmed the bass. Actually, I made it with two sounds. Starts with this regular bass tone. It's an Omnisphere patch. Yeah, the CS80 bass from the Vangelis pack. Luftrum. Shout out those guys. Great sounds. But I felt like it's a solid sound, but it needed some attack, some transients, something to grab the ear, and I thought, cool thing about Omnisphere, I don't know if it's a big secret anymore, but if you go into these modules, I guess you'd call them that. You can call them that, oscillators. Um, there's a whole sample library in there and a synth library. But if you go in, what is this, bottle cap? Go in and you have a whole library of samples that are not processed. And it's very helpful with sound design and also making hip hop music, because you just have, the presets that are in this directory. If you don't go into the oscillator sound bank, they're pretty done. Like they're doing a lot. Sometimes you have to turn off reverbs and delays and stuff, but a lot of this is just clean sounds ready for you to do whatever you want with them. And I found this bottle cap thing. Is that what it's called? What's it called? Bottle cap spork. Yeah, it was in here somewhere. This one. I just had that by itself. Minimal processing, man. It was just, I wanted it to sound like a pick playing the bass. A transient, just something to put on top, so it pokes out. Sounds like this by itself. Now, obviously, we don't want those highs fighting with the hi-hats and the drums that come in. We don't want the lows, so I just cut off low and high, put a compressor on there. Back then, I had this Ableton preset. It was I was pretty new to compression at this time, a couple of years ago. And I found that these settings right here, if you're in Ableton, you copy them. It was a good place to start. And I would just bring the threshold down. But the attack and release right there. Nowadays, I like auto even. And 3-to-5 ratio. Or 350 to 1. It's pretty good. This is where I ended up. And then famous RC20 for some texture. That's what it sounds like without this stuff. EQ. Compressor. A little vinyl on top. And then some room. Tiny bit of reverb. 12%. It's got a tail on it though. And this bass has little processing, man. I automated the volume a little bit just for some impact on the more exciting parts. But yeah, I didn't even EQ it. It was just good. That's the cool thing about those Leuchtturm packs. Sounds are pretty good to go, plug and play. But on top, when I glued them together with this limiter, and I smushed it, man. I love the L2 on basses, man. It's a great control tool. Because when I got to the end of this on the mastering chain, I was having trouble with some of the dynamics were just kind of out of control. And it was that famous battle of trying to get it loud and preserve the original idea and not squash it totally. But I put tons of reverb on this bass. Kind of controlled that, what is that, 80 hertz? 85? Again, that pick on the top can fight with other elements, so you kind of have to be careful with those metallic sounds, especially with digital music. But an easy fix is just rolling off the top. And then monoed the bottom with this thing. See here. And then I got some effects, automated pitch drop for turnarounds, automated volume for impact, but without the processing and width. Yeah, it's just way tighter. And maybe even in context it might sound worse, but once you start introducing other elements, it's making room. And this is the intro of the song. It comes in with some with this percussion loop that I did nothing to. I think this is just from a splice pack. It's cool. Run it. Slight processing, cutting off the lows. The old school Ableton compressor, the Lindell compressor. I think I was just messing with stuff here. Like, this compressor's cool. Probably not necessary, but I was playing with it at the time. Got some soothe on there, probably because of that compressor. Little MB. See, those digital tops can really tear stuff up if you're not careful. So that's a pretty transparent way to turn down. Even with a drum break, I find this Pro MB is a great way to turn down the top without really changing the character of the sound. Even more so than an EQ. I don't know. It's something with the algorithm. But I like doing that. And again, I have some automation on the volume. And then this transition effect thing, we'll touch on that a little later. And that's the intro. And these bells come in. I think it's more of that Vangelis pack. I was really on that when I got it. Yeah, it's the CS80 patch, just playing it higher up, a few octaves up. And then I did the same thing, a couple octaves lower, but I was playing with the arpeggiator. And Omnisphere, this thing's sick, dude. Great way to create some variation in your sound. Really easy to program. Looks like I made this one. That was probably on accident because I don't even know. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a preset loaded. And if you check out the MIDI, they're just an octave apart, but that lower part has that arpeggiator on it, so it's doing some crazy stuff. On the B part, there's a little more variation. We'll start from the beginning. Sorry, guys. ADD. We'll hear it in context. Yeah, 'cause it starts going nuts, and these chords come in. Real simple ones. I wanted like a Rhodes, like a cheap toy Rhodes sound. Kind of just like add to the rhythm more than anything. And then the processing on that lead. Decapitator is always good. RC20 is always good. The VHS preset, like on hard. High pass, low pass filter. A little delay. Some more And the same reverb settings as the bass. Putting them in the same room. I'm a big fan of that. And I remember making this this Rhodes sound. Um, it's just a sine, a simple sine. But I wanted it to be subtle. And I think this decimort burning throat thing, I usually just mess with the frequency on this. I thought it gave it a nice tone. I was really into this EQ at the time. 2098 EQ. I was just putting some brightness on it. Some sheen. Cutting out the lows around 300. Just trying to make a digital sound a little more analog. I don't know if that really helps. And then the Haas. Rhodes are great for the Haas effect. Sort of a chorus effect. This was probably an EQ decision towards the end once I was trying to get everything to fit through that limiter. And then probably the same, a little less reverb than the other ones, but the same settings. This is a good reverb, like utility setting. You can kind of, it sounds good on everything. You can kind of throw it on. Like a lot of times I'll be like, this is temporary, and then it just stays. Now that really starts to bring the idea home, in my opinion. This arpeggio, nice and full. Let's see if the sound is still there. Unfreeze. Come to me ARP. And I probably loaded a preset in here. Maybe it doesn't show which one. A lot of times I'll load an arpeggiator preset in here and just like mess with it a little bit. But as you can see, two very simple chords now sound really full. Minimal processing, it didn't need much. And then I have a high synth bell thing come in. What do we got here? Oh yeah, we're gonna be missing these bells. It's just a hybrid keys probably, or the kinetic instrument. I think it's called kinetic metals. Comes with contact, layered with Rachel's xylophone. I'm telling you guys, this Vangelis pack is a whole freaking album. And then I introduce some vocals in at this point with this high synth. And one thing I always do when I'm sketching out my ideas, sometimes I'll make a note up here. See, it says needs to get bigger. Obviously, the vocal is what did it. And then here, and bigger plus cool harmonies, and you'll hear them come in. But notes like that are great, especially if you're revisiting a project or whatever. But this vocal trick's cool. Ableton Reverb is perfect for this. It sounds great. You just automate this dry wet. You guys see that? Yeah. Automate this dry wet on the reverb. And if you have the decay all the way up, you're golden, man. That thing's gonna run until you turn it off. Cut the highs, cut the lows. Creates a great atmosphere. And then I put this gate, this serum gate. On the vocals, on the reverb tail. Just creates some nice variation. You know, it's the same sound source. It's like the idea is the same. It's in the same space, but it's changing, it's evolving. Which is important for a track like this where the drums aren't really doing it. It's the sound design really. It's carrying it. And we start to introduce, bring the arps back in, and this orchestral percussion is kind of cool. It's more of an ambience. Nice texture, not really a rhythm to it. And that's just one of those things you grab intuitively. And then this is the transition effect. Some cymbals. Yeah, now the break comes in. And also the pad. So staying true to some drum and bass, you know, or some jungle. Pad and breakbeat, but it's also keeping it in the Jawn Doe universe where it's weird. So I can't just do a pad and breakbeat. I feel like it's a vibe, it's cool, sounds good, but it's not a signature that I can do because it's already done. Maybe it's how you do it, I don't know. Yeah, so that breakbeat comes in, it's ripping, and then I had to do the Aphex Twin stutters. And how I do that is very simple. Let's see, it's right on the break. How do I do that? Is it up here? Oh, you know what? I think I put Infiltrator, this plugin. I put Infiltrator on there, and I used one of these presets. Probably Destruction, Wonky, one of these, Distorted, Short Circuit. Here's an example of it. Something like that. I don't remember exactly because I resampled it and then turned it off. But those, you have more control when you do it that way. So that's my own sample, and I liked this modulated snare room sound. Ableton presets, dark room. It's pretty plain. You put this delay on there that's modulating it. Now it's like puts it in a great space, especially for this break. And by themselves, just these hits, man. This one's processed a little bit differently. It had scope on there to really dial it in. I have some distortion on that one. I gotta save these, this chain. This sounds cool. Okay, so if you have a processing chain that you like a lot, save it. What should I call this? Laser room verb, distorted drums. Otherwise, I won't remember it. Put it there. Bam. Sick. Hi-hat's carrying the B part. Yeah, and these transitions, I think I used something from the Counts pack, and I think it was this long, weird cymbal thing, and I chopped up different parts so that each little transition was different. And little stuff like that can help keep a track alive. And at that point, I'm just bringing other parts in, taking other parts out until we get to this sort of finale thing. Now, for whatever reason, I had like an album ending track in mind. That's what inspired this cello. Ooh, so I bring in a cello. Bring in a bunch of new stuff, actually. I don't love this cello. It's cool, it works. I'd like to get a real one on this track. But at the same time, you got to know when a track is done. Now, let's say someone hits me up, they want to do something with this. We just need a new cello player, run it. But on my end, this track is done. But when I was a kid, I really loved the band Cursive. And there's so many like cool breaks where like the guitarist and the drummer would stop and the cello just comes in, or it creates sort of like an ending feeling. I was kind of going for that. But I also introduced some other new elements like this glitch bell. Which I think I've shown this before, but I'll show it again. I resampled. I don't know what sample this is necessarily. I think it's from Playbox. I think it's from this. one of these and I messed with it in here, and you throw that, you throw a sample in sampler from wherever. I like, for this, I like bells, pianos, vocals are cool, and I put some filter on it. This is the filter envelope. The important part is the modulation. And I put this, assign it to LFO2. I put this random thing on, type, random. Send it to like this thing A to sample offset. That's where it'll start, where the sample starts. Turn that up to 100, and you play a C note, as you can see, and it'll play this sample back in different places. I thought there was a way to make the sample big. No. But you guys can see that. So the start is, it creates a glitch effect. Put an arpeggiator on it. You can modulate the gate or automate the gate. It'll have the notes play out longer. A little pan man, so that it's really dancing around the speakers. And you could use auto pan in Ableton. Similar effect, same thing. A little EQ. All my EQ curves look the same in this track. It's hilarious. That same compressor. I was really hooked on these. I made this track 2 years ago, maybe more at this point. That same room verb. And then I was using Playbox from Native Instruments, because it was just cool to introduce something new. Now, the nature of this genre gets a little loopy. At the end, I bring everything together at once. Yeah. And this was sort of a conclusion song. Sorry for the crackles. You shouldn't hear them anymore. It's just sort of a conclusion song. Oof. I was kind of done with these glitchy bell ideas and the Vangelis pack. I don't know if I made it with that in mind, but I kind of did. It just worked out that way. And my masters is similar to the other ones, man. I boosted the gain a little bit so that I'm coming in hot. I'm not clipping, but I'm, you know, I like to hit God particle. At least so these things are lighting up, you know. I definitely am preserving some dynamics with this one. I remember the master being kind of a bear because this bass wanted to just be in the front. And like it's big there, and then the drums are big here. And I was kind of tussling with that. And I didn't, so the song isn't the loudest. But similar EQ curves. I monoed to 74 hertz. And hey, if you guys have better mastering ideas, put them in the chat. Comment. Let me know. Let me know your opinion. Does cutting out the ghost really sound good? I think it does. So I do this in every video, but it's such a important move. Rolling off 20 hertz. That's like first day of mastering school. Monoing up to whatever sounds good. In this case, 74 hertz. And then one that's not so well known is taking out this ghost. So when you mono the track, you're not running into problems, phase issues, this shit, in the car. You want it to translate. So what I like to do is I'll take usually Pro Q3. I guess they're on 4 now. I don't have that yet. I'm sleeping. But I'll look for that ghost sound. Ooh, it's right there. I heard it more at 307 than 309, but I went with this one at the time. Again, guys, you got to know when a track is done. We could tweak out on this all day. I could find new problems, probably mix it better, but you got to put it down at some point. I mean, I hear it whistling. So, without the EQ, with it, yeah, some of those frequencies are definitely under more control now. And then when mastering, another pro tip, you want to go to the busiest, loudest part of your song and do most of your work there. So, like I said, this is where the track concludes. This is where everything is. Just like some of my other older tracks I've been putting up, I was using this as a glue compressor at the time, just for the master, glue everything. Very, light compression, 0.3, 0.5, anything over 0.5, I'm not liking. This thing's great on a master, can't really go wrong. Nowadays, I prefer to turn the clip off and leave this curve flat, but in this instance, this worked. These settings worked. And then old school stuff, I don't do this anymore, but I was leaning on this glue compressor a lot for a while, just to get the loudness there. It's so musical. It's not ducking anything. It's just clipping some, pushing the makeup gain and then running it through L2. favorite mix, but it definitely got the job done. One thing under the hood that I didn't point out that I like to do here and there is I'll send my drums. I didn't with the bass this time, but I like to send almost everything to like a DJ effects rack. So I can do some like high pass, low pass filter stuff. Let's see. What happens here? See in the bottom left corner, this auto filter is doing work. I bet this, yeah, and I automated the dry wet on the reverb too. Just a cool, easy way to create some variation in your transitions. And then the certain elements, like this cymbal thing I was talking about earlier that I chopped up, you bypass that. Send everything else to the DJ bus, bypass that thing, and then it's kind of big and in your face. It creates a cool effect. And you know, high pass, low pass filters, that's the OG stuff. That's never going away, never going out of style. It sounds so good. And then from that DJ bus, I go to my parallel bus, and everything else goes to here too, because I pointed this out in other mixes, but I use this thing to this day. I parallel my whole mix. I run it through here. And a great way to do this when you're first starting out, like I usually keep it at negative 12.5, the send. But just bring it in slow. See what sounds good. We'll do it on the busy part. First off, this is without it. Now let's bring it in slowly. Yeah, sounds great. It's way fuller, it's standing at attention. One important note when you're doing that, you have to pay attention to your gain, because depending on, I'm using these and I have it pretty dialed in. It doesn't affect the gain all that much unless I crank it all the way, obviously. But, if you're using some sort of variation of this, a tonal, like a opto compressor or a tonal compressor and a tonal EQ, like some of those things, like the gain will be cranked up on them. And I think manufacturers will do that because it'll trick someone thinking, it sounds so good, but it's just turning it up. So watch that gain and run it through something like this. It'll really make a mix pop, and it's any genre. But that's it, guys. That's my track, The Great Numbing. I've got more coming out this week. I'll put up tutorials. I'll put these sounds up. Message me online, comment on the video if you want these sounds or drums or whatever. I'll send them your way. Thanks for hanging out.